I think we are live. So I apologize to all those out in the viewing community that we are late. I will take full responsibility for this. But it is time to call the Village of Terrace Park Council meeting of June 9, 2020 to order. And if you could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with
liberty and justice
for all.
Lyons, would you please call the roll? Katie?
Gasky?
Here.
Ingebrigtsen?
Here.
Lehman?
Here.
LeMay?
Mute.
He's muted. Lindell?
Here.
Sharp?
Jeff is here. We'll acknowledge that Jeff LeMay was
here
on
Yep.
the mute. There we go. Brilliant. And is there approval of the meeting minutes from the May 20 meetings? Everyone had a chance to review? Any
Yes.
suggestions, corrections, deletions? Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve?
All in favor, say aye.
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 Expertly done once again, Mrs. Lyons. Residents to address council. Drew, do we have any people that have signed up to speak? Does not appear to be. Unless I'm told otherwise, we'll get back to that. We'll move on. Reports of village officials. I am not Jerry Hayhow. I am now Tom Tepe. Since I was cause of this delay, I have a very short report, which is it's summer. Be safe. Kids are out in full force as they haven't in a while, and do right to your neighbor. Other than that, I don't have anything else to report. Chief Fiscal Officer Katie Lyons. Oh, and this is going to be the last Zoom meeting we do. We're going to go live in July. This was a good stopgap, but I'm not a big fan. Chief Fiscal Officer, Mrs. Lyons.
No report.
Mr. Forbes, Solicitor.
Thank you. No report.
How about Mrs. Lyons as the Clerk of Council?
No report.
Chief Maggard.
Thank you, Mayor. No report other than to say the class is continuing. They're starting to do their clinical ride-along times, and a few more weeks and they're done. And also, Chief Dronesfield had no report.
He texted me and he had an obligation. Police Chief and Village Administrator, Head Jerry Hayhow. I will spin this over to him.
Thank you. We've implemented a new program that will allow high school students to earn service credit hours by volunteering to work for the village. There is a short application process, and the application can be found on our website. The type of work could range from office assistance to painting to working outdoors with the maintenance crew. You can drop off your application here at the village office, or if you would like more information, please email me at hayhow@terracepark.org. This is the information that I plan on sending out on Code Red tomorrow. So I think it's a great opportunity for the young folks that have not been able to go anywhere and do anything, and we can get a couple birds with one stone.
This is non-paid, correct? This is
Correct.
volunteer?
Right.
Good. And depending on demand, we'll sort of determine the number of total hours that each person will get. But certainly everyone that applies will get hours. They'll get something, but it just depends. I think it's awesome. And I know people here that work would look forward to having a little assistance and a little bit of young brains and muscles. So is that the end of your report? Succinct. Any members of council outside their committee? Moving on, planning and zoning. Mr. Gasky.
No report, Mr. Mayor.
Brilliant. Buildings and grounds, Mrs. Sharp.
No report, Mr. Mayor.
Cooking along. How about finance, Mr. LeMay?
We do.
Yes, we do.
I've got 3 resolutions, but before I get to that one, I wanted to give an update on, recall last month, we talked about the potential revenue shortfall due to the COVID impact on fines, licenses, permits, gas tax. At that point last month, we were about $18,000 below what we had expected at this point in the year. A month later, we're about the same $18,000. So I think what we did in being conservative with our road repairs so far continues to be the right choice. And I'll update everybody again next month.
We're optimistic that hopefully with people getting in their cars and whatnot and getting their licenses, that will make up some of that. Probably not all of it, though.
Yeah, I mean, the mileage tax would be lost money. You can't make up for that. But certainly the BMV now being open, et cetera, people are going to go get their license renewed and license plates, and that should be a catch up.
Great.
Yep. Okay, good. I have 3 resolutions. Quick background on this first one, in resolution 6-1, is we need to make some corrections to the language that goes forward on this ballot. Recall, we're going to put a ballot 2.8 mil renewal on the ballot in November. We had to make a couple corrections to the language. This is simply to correct those, and we have plenty of time to get it in the system and reflected. So unless there's any questions.
This will not raise your taxes.
This, again, will not raise your taxes. Yep. And we'll go on the campaign trail come August, September, and October, as we've done in the past. So resolution 6-1, 2020 is a resolution declaring the necessity to proceed with the renewal tax levy in excess of the 10 mil limitation, 2.8 mil renewal.
Second.
Gasky,
Aye.
Ingebrigtsen,
Aye.
Lehman,
Aye.
Lemay,
Aye.
Lindell,
Aye.
Sharp.
Aye.
I'd like to move this resolution. I'd like to adopt the resolution as an emergency.
Second.
Gasky,
Aye.
Ingebrigtsen,
Aye.
Lehman, Lemay,
Aye.
Lindell,
Aye.
Sharp.
Aye.
Great. Thank you on that one. Resolution 6-2, we made a change in how we account for this particular cost element and revenue element, workman's compensation, from a monthly budget to an annual. In late April, early May, we received $10,584 in revenue that was booked in May. This is simply to update our accounting system to reflect the cost of the exact same dollar amount of $10,584. Recall, occasionally we need to do this to make sure that the UA system and our accounting system matches. And this is just one adjustment. In both cases, revenue and the appropriation of cost are matched and balanced. Unless there's any questions, I'm going to go ahead and read Resolution 6-2, 2020 to empower the Chief Fiscal Officer to revise the 2020 appropriation budget.
In advance to the third reading.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Second.
Yeah.
Are we ready?
Maybe things are breaking up. I'm not. So that was the first. That was the reading in advance of the third reading.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, to introduce in advance of the third reading, Resolution 6-2, 2020, to empower the Chief Fiscal Officer to revise the 2020 appropriation budget. Thanks.
Second.
Gasky,
Aye.
Ingebrigtsen, Lehman,
Aye.
Lemay,
Aye.
Lindell,
Aye.
Sharp.
Aye.
I'd like to move to adopt the resolution as an emergency.
Second.
Gasky. Oh,
Aye. Oh,
Ingebrigtsen,
Aye.
Lehman,
Aye.
Lemay,
Aye.
Lindell,
Aye.
Sharp.
Aye.
Great. The last resolution is we're going to do the first reading of our 2021 budget. Let me give you some perspective, and I want to thank Jerry, Katie, the departments for their work on this. We're anticipating about a 1.2% increase in revenue for 2021 versus 2020, and a 3.2% increase in expenses. I'll give you the highlights there in just a minute of what those changes, two key changes are. I wanted to call out that we did a levy increase in 2013. We saw the increase in revenue beginning in 2014. During the next 4 years, 2014, 15, 16, and 17, we ran a budget surplus. The last 2 years, 2018 and 19, and we're projecting in 2020 and 21 to run a budget deficit. Those are all anticipated and planned. Again, we get a revenue increase when we put a levy on the ballot. We have to live with that revenue increase and that amount of money for the foreseeable future. At some point, our budgets begin to turn into a deficit situation. But it's important, and the reason why I mention this, I know Jerry and Katie and everybody does a good job on this, but we need to continue to look for every opportunity to reduce our expenses, extend the money we have, and look for revenue sources, certainly that don't result in an increased burden upon our residents. The highlights of next year's budget, Jerry's, we've got to buy 2 more vehicles. I'll tell you, as I poked at this with Jerry, the one truck that we need to replace has over 1 million equivalent miles on it. Yeah, right. And the squad car that we need to renew has 300,000 miles on it. Again, an indication, I think Jerry and the service department and police department, we do a good job maintaining all of our capital assets and physical assets. And also Jerry has found a way to offset largely most of those cost increases in next year's budget. So thank you for that, Jerry. The other key element is we budgeted salaries at 3%. Jerry, we'll take a look at that again early next year when we go to renewing or updating our salaries. For me, in light of inflation that's running below 2%, I think it's prudent to look at whether 3% might be justified under a low inflation rate. But again, we'll look at that in several months. I also learned that revenue in our budget is typically understated, in part because Hamilton County gives us an estimate based on 90% of our projected revenue. So while I'm showing a 1.2% increase in revenue, it's going to be closer to probably 2%. And again, our history, I've looked back several years, we tend to underspend our budget by about $30,000 or $40,000. So net, we'll probably end up about $70,000 higher in revenue, about 30, 40 underspent, which helps our end of year cash balance. Regardless, and again, public service message, we got to look for examples like generating additional revenue with the insurance, reducing our cost, extending items, et cetera. Overall, this budget provides for the most important thing, taking care of our people, routine maintenance and repairs, and it keeps us squarely in a position of being and operating like a small and efficient government, which is what we all desire. Sorry, that's a long preamble. Unless there's, the other point I'll make is this budget will be posted in the office as we do every year for any resident or council member who wants to review it. Okay, any questions?
We're required to have a public hearing on it, are we not?
We'll do so in July.
Right.
Glad we're having a face-to-face session.
Yeah.
30 minutes in advance of that, I'm wearing my wife's glasses. She just brought me the my picture. There you go. Yeah, in July we'll have a 30-minute, 7 to 7:30, making it available for any resident to come and review the budget and ask questions before council.
Perfect.
Okay. Any additional questions?
That public hearing notice may have already went in, and maybe 7:15.
It's 7:15.
Okay.
Yeah, that public notice already went out.
Okay, good. That kind of matches our history here. Okay, good. Unless there's any questions, I'd like to introduce Resolution 6-3, 2020, Resolution approving the 2021 annual tax budget for the Village of Terrace Park.
Second.
We just introduced it. We don't.
I think we're gonna let it sit for a month, and if it works, then,
Good job.
look, we gotta get that budget going. We got stuff to buy.
Katie and Jerry, thank you again.
Thank you.
End of my report.
Thank you, Mr.
90
Lemay.
degrees in Florida at the moment.
Jeff is taking time out of his vacation to serve the people, and I think the people should recognize that, like everyone else on this call, he's a hard worker.
I thought that was his house.
Yeah.
The pink glasses suited you, Jeff.
I'm mooching off my brother this week.
Perfect, even better. I'll be down. Rules and law, Mrs. Lehman.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I do have a report this week.
Great.
And that is just to let all the members of council and the community know that the Rules and Law Committee did meet last week to start conversations about the ordinances related to the Wilderness Preserve, also Miami Grove. It's been decades since the ordinance that are in place or put in place. So it's definitely time to take a look at that and make sure that it is still serving the needs of the community. Specifically, we have had reports over the past couple of years and some complaints about non-residents using the Miami Grove in increasing numbers. So that's just something that we want to take a look at. That the police are empowered, given the current ordinance, to protect the property of the village and to make sure that certainly that nobody is injured or any property damage occurs down there, if we can avoid it. So the committee will continue to meet. I think Mr. Forbes is looking at some updated language to make sure that all of that is current, and we'll be introducing that at a future meeting.
Great. We look forward to the notice. Thanks for the hard work. We look forward to solicitors' legalese and touch on that to make sure that whatever it is the council decides to do, if anything at all, is in the best interest of the village and legal, which is always a good thing to strive for. So we'll look for the notice.
Okay, and that's the end of my report. Are there any questions actually before I end my report? Okay, that ends my report.
Public Works, Mr. Lindell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No report this month.
Thank you, sir. Public Safety, Mrs. Ingebrigtsen.
Thank you, Mayor. No report.
Well, do we have any continued business?
Topper, is there any new information on sewers, or is that still sidelined?
Well, I thought we were gaining, just so everyone knows, I'm not telling you, I'm telling anybody out there watching. If I have one word of new information, I will disseminate it as soon as possible. I thought we had some traction. We got the report. I reached out. They said they were looking at it. And then all of this happened, meaning the COVID and the county furloughed people. Their budget has taken a drastic hit. I have heard nothing from anyone, despite having been told that I would. At this point, I will at least give them the benefit, say, I understand why. Before, it took a little bit longer than I think that everyone was comfortable with, but this, under these circumstances, is, I'm not gonna scream too loud, but I certainly am gonna stay on them, because I think we have a little bit of momentum that hopefully we didn't lose it all, but we will move forward and try to see. The next step is, if you recall, the county will look at its own commission report and decide what do they want, what's their next step, because if they don't want us, we got nothing else to do. If they do want us, then we got a whole lot of work to do. So they just needed to point us in which direction they want us to go, and then we'll start our long, diligent search into whether this is in the village's best interest or not. We just don't know yet, because we haven't even really started scratching the surface because of these reasons I just explained. So long-winded, nothing new, but I am on them. Hopefully I will reach out to Commissioner Driehaus, who is my commissioner there, to kind of see if we can keep those going. There's been a number of furloughs, and I just don't know if maybe some of those people, unfortunately, were on a temporary hiatus. So I will report back with new information as soon as I have it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jerry, you have anything? Is there any continued business or new business?
I'm getting good feedback, positive feedback on the clock. Looks good.
It's really cool.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We
I like
should,
it.
Regina, we should reach out to that group and see if
The
they
garden
want to
club, maybe? Oh, no.
the group, Nancy Everhart
Nancy.
or
Yeah.
whoever else was part of that effort to spearhead. Because, I feel kind of, it took a little longer, but we think we did it the right way. Then we stuck it up. I think we need to have a little pomp and circumstances that go along with it. Because people gave their hard-earned money and they worked on it a while, and it's really cool. Nothing fancy.
Yeah, I had a discussion with her, and they wanted to try and all bring a whole bunch of people in for it. So ideally, it would happen around Labor Day or Memorial Day. But so if we think we're going to have Labor Day activities, it'd be great to do it then.
I see no reason why we wouldn't, but things change and things are fluid. That seems like a pretty darn good time. And God bless you. Cool. Anything else for the good of the order? Oh, hearing none. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Do it, John?
All in favor, say aye.
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 Great. Take care, everyone. Be safe. Have a great June if we don't see each other before then.
Thank you.
Okay.
See you.
Bye-bye.